What do you do when your dog just won't stop doing the thing that's driving you nuts? You've trained, you've managed, you've tried everything, but your herding dog keeps herding. Your terrier keeps digging. Your guardian breed keeps guarding. Here's the truth: it's not personal, it's not stubbornness or disobedience, it's genetics. And it's one of the most misunderstood pieces of dog behavior. There are two big reasons why I want to talk to you about this today. First, because when you don't understand your dog's genetic needs, their behavior feels, of course, frustrating, unpredictable, and a lot of times it feels unfixable to the common dog owner. And second, because once you do understand it, everything starts to make sense, and you can finally give your dog the outlet they've been begging for without knowing how to ask. In this episode of the Canine Academy, I'm going to break down what genetic fulfillment is, how it shows up in real life, and the simple changes you can make to meet your dog's needs before those needs explode into reactivity or obsession. If you've ever thought, why does my dog keep doing this? You're in the right place. I'm Jeff Green, this is the Canine Academy, and today we're getting to the one concept that could change everything about how you live with your dog. Let's get into it. Let's have a real conversation here. Because if you're frustrated with your dog right now, if you feel like they're out of control, not listening, or just being downright difficult, I need you to hear me on this. Your dog is not broken. They're not trying to piss you off. They're doing exactly what they were wired to do. They're not blank slates. They're not little robots waiting for programming. They are living, breathing, thinking beings with thousands of years of instinct built into them. And yet, so many of the calls that I get from potential clients are from owners that just want to fix something that isn't even broken. It's just obviously extremely misunderstood. And if I had a dollar for every time someone told me, I've had dogs all my life, I've never had issues like this, I'd be running this podcast right now from a private island. So let me ask you the same thing that I asked them. Do you know what your dog was bred to do? Because here's the truth: not all dogs are created equal. That's not just a catchy phrase, it is reality. Different breeds were developed for very specific jobs in specific environments with very specific traits in mind. And even within a breed, every dog has their own unique personality, drive, and quirks. Now, I talk to people all the time who are struggling with their current dog, and then they tell me that their last dog was easy. Maybe it was a chill, pit bull mix or a mellow little terrier. And now they've rescued a 150-pound Neapolitan Mastiff with guarding instincts and zero off switch. And they're shocked, totally overwhelmed. Or maybe you grew up with a bird dog or a herder. You loved that dog, but you were a kid back then. You didn't see the hours of structure, training, and exercise that dogs need, and someone else put that time in and provided that. Now you're the adult. And that sweet family dog you remember is now a full throttle working breed that's turning your living room into a racetrack. And let's be honest, it was a different world back then. It's different now. In the 80s and 90s, dogs lived very different lives. They had yards, spent time outside, weren't overstimulated by the chaos of modern life. Dogs were dogs. But now we're in the digital age. You scroll through social media and you see these perfect dogs, cute, calm, cool looking. No one shows you the destruction, the endless barking, and the anxiety problems. You just see the filtered version. And the availability of these dogs, insane. Puppies used to be hard to come by. Now you can click and have one shipped to you by next week. Breeders and puppy mills are marketing dogs like products, like fluffy Frenchies with rare coats and colors. But no one mentioned to you that bulldogs were bred for bull baiting. That's not a cuddly lap dog. That's a tenacious, driven animal that was literally designed for combat. That doesn't even get likes on Instagram, so that's conveniently left out. You wouldn't expect a marathon runner to sit still all day, but we expect every dog to be calm, compliant, and low maintenance, no matter their genetics. And that expectation is setting you and your dog up for failure. So let's flip the script. Let me give you some real life examples of what I hear daily. Clients call and ask about their Australian cattle dog. He keeps nipping at my kids' heels in the backyard when they run around. That's what they tell me. They're worried that it's aggression. But what's actually happening? That dog is hurting. That's his instinct saying, hey, this group is scattered. Let me help. He's doing what he was bred to do. Other clients call about their beagle who screams when they leave the house. Furniture's destroyed and neighbors are complaining about the noise. They, of course, think it's separation anxiety, but that's a hound built to vocalize, built to track, built to sound off. When there's no outlet for that energy, guess what? It explodes. Then you have the husky owners, the huskies that are digging craters in the backyard. He's being so destructive. No, he's being bored. That dog was bred to run marathons daily, pulling a sled. Now he's stuck in a yard with no job and nothing to do. So, of course, he creates one. This isn't disobedience, it's instinct with nowhere to go. When your dog is doing something annoying, it's usually not bad behavior. You shouldn't label it that. It's misdirected behavior. It's their instinct talking. And if you don't give it an outlet, it will find one whether you like it or not. Even within the same breed, dogs can be wildly different. One German Shepherd might be chill, snuggly lapdog. The next one might be a relentless working machine. Genetics give us a blueprint for our dogs, but each dog is its own puzzle. So now what do you do with this information? Well, one, you stop trying to suppress the instinct and you start giving it structure. Don't want your cattle dog hurting your kids? Cool. Teach them to herd a ball instead. Run focus drills around movement. Don't want your hound howling nonstop? Give that nose a job. Hide treats, do scent games. You don't try to erase the instincts, just redirect them into something more constructive. The behaviors that frustrate you the most are often your dog's way of telling you what they need more of, not less. When you see that, when you really get it, you stop seeing your dog as a problem to fix and you start seeing them as a partner to work with. And that changes everything. So now that we've pulled the curtain back on your dog's instincts, now you're starting to see that their behavior isn't random, it's rooted in who they are. Let's take a deeper dive and zoom in even more. Because if instinct is the engine that runs the dog, of course, their breed is the blueprint. And if you don't understand that blueprint, you're going to keep hitting the same walls over and over and over again. Let's talk about why breed matters more than you can even imagine. And we'll just get straight into it because this is a truth bomb. Yes, all dogs are amazing, but not all dogs are built the same. And you'd be surprised at how many people don't understand that. See, you wouldn't buy a Corvette and then get mad that it does terrible in the snow and in the rain. You wouldn't bring home a kayak and expect it to perform like a boat or a jet ski. That's what people do with dogs every single day. And I see this every day. They fall in love with a look. They remember a dog they had from childhood and want to recreate that memory with their family. Or worse, they scroll Instagram, TikTok, see a dog in a cute little outfit and think, yeah, I want that dog. And I get it. You're not intentionally trying to mess these dogs up. You just didn't realize that breed actually matters a lot. And let's break it down by group and talk about what happens when instinct goes ignored. And I mean breed groups for dogs, herding breeds, border collies, Aussies, corgis. These dogs were bred to control movement, literally move other animals through space. If they aren't herding livestock, they'll herd your kids, your other dogs, and even your guests. I've had clients call because their healer was, again, nipping at ankles and circling kids or becoming fixated on anything in motion. Is that bad behavior? No. Again, it's a dog doing their job with no instructions. If you don't direct the instinct, of course, it'll go rogue. Hound breeds, beagles, bloodhounds, coonhounds. These dogs are nose first, sound second, logic is third. They were built to trail scent and make noise while doing it. So when your hound is howling at every sound, ignoring your calls outside, or tearing up your yard because they caught a whiff of something underground, guess what? That's not disobedience or destructiveness. That's generations of breeding playing out in front of you in real time. Sporting breeds, labs, goldens, pointers. These dogs are full of drive, stamina, and a need to retrieve, swim, or track. I've seen so many well meaning families bring home a golden retriever or a lab and expect them to just chill, be a nice family dog. But they end up with the dog bouncing off the walls, chewing all the furniture, or dragging them down the street on every single walk. Why? Because that dog needs to move and do. Love alone isn't enough. They need a job. Toy breeds, Chihuahuas, Yorkies, Poms. Small doesn't mean simple. These dogs are bred to be alert, loyal companions, but that often comes with big opinions and high sensitivity. Many owners don't train them at all because they're just small and cute. They're just lap dogs. And then they wonder why the dog barks at every single noise, guards them like a soldier, or snaps when they're startled. That's not attitude, it's unchanneled instinct. Terriers, Jack Russells, Bull Terriers, Westies. These are your gritty little go getters, bred to hunt vermin and to go to war underground. It's amazing. If you've ever seen them work, it's quite phenomenal. That digging, barking, and chasing and chewing stuff, yeah, that's terrier energy with nowhere to go. If you don't work them and give them appropriate outlets, they will turn your living room into a demolition site for sure, guaranteed 100%. Guardian and working breeds, your Rottweilers, kind of Corsi, other Mastiffs, Huskies, these dogs are the defenders, sled pullers, muscle of the canine world, if you will. And without proper leadership and structure, their protective nature turns into reactivity. We see this every day. Their strength becomes a liability very quickly. I've seen countless families adopt these breeds because they look cool or they think they're great with kids, great as a family dog, but they didn't prepare for the management it takes to raise a stable, confident guardian. Not to mention, a lot of these dogs today in 2025 are very poorly bred. But again, the point is, the dog's behavior isn't random. It's a map. It's showing you who they are, what they need, and what they were built to do. So the next time your dog does something that makes you pause, digging, barking, pacing, herding, guarding, don't just be quick to correct it and ask, how do I fix it? Ask yourself this instead. Is this instinct? Is this unmet need? Is this the breed trying to speak through the dog? And then lean into that. Learn, adjust, and fulfill. Because when you understand the drives your dog has, you stop labeling them as a problem or their behaviors as problem behaviors. And you start training the dog that's actually in front of you. And that shift, that's where everything will start to click for you. Here's where most dog owners go sideways, though. They skip straight to control. They want the dog to sit, stay, heel, come when called. All great things, don't get me wrong. But if the instinct underneath all of that isn't being fulfilled, you're just putting a lid on a pressure cooker. You can't out train drive. You have to meet it. Let me give you a personal story of me and my first dog. Zara was my first puppy, the one that I raised as an up and coming trainer. She's a Cane Corso, guardian breed through and through. And when I got her, of course, I was all in. I was gung ho about obedience and routines and the structure and all that good stuff, right? And I was excited to even try some protection work with her because, come on, Cane Corso sounded like a natural fit, right? This cute little puppy comes home and we're off to the races. We're doing luring, free shaping, crate training, potty training, name recognition, you name it, we were doing it. And to be honest, Zara was crushing it. super responsive, eager, sharp. She was a very smart dog. And as months rolled on, she started getting older. I noticed something. Her personality was shifting. She started barking at strangers, growling when people came to the door, acting like a bouncer every time that we were somewhere she didn't really know what was going to happen. That sweet little puppy was growing into her genetics. At about 7 months old, though, I took her to a Schutzen club to get a feel for the sport. Right, that's a sport that I still will be pursuing very soon, but we tried it out a couple years ago. We did a short routine in front of members, healing, recall, a little drive work, and she nailed it. I was hyped. She was doing amazing. But then a few seasoned handlers came over to me afterwards and they offered me something I didn't expect. It was a word of caution. They said, don't put so much control on a puppy. One of them said, let her develop. Let her show you who she's going to be. And in that moment, it really hit me because I didn't know there was a such thing as putting too much control on a dog too early. I was trying to shape her into something when I hadn't even given her time to reveal who she was. That advice changed the trajectory of our relationship. I started focusing less on perfect obedience and more on fulfilling her needs as a cane corso. And that meant more structure, yes, but also more decompression, more time to be a dog, more space to build confidence and curiosity, less sit, down, heel, place, and more what does Zara need today? That's when I started understanding fulfillment comes before obedience. Because when the dog feels seen and understood, the obedience comes natural. It's no longer a fight for control, it's a partnership. So let me ask you this: what are you giving your dog to do? And if you can't answer that, you found your starting point. Let's break this down with some practical ideas for each of the breed groups, depending on what dog you own. Herding dogs need jobs that simulate control and movement. Think agility, focused obedience, herding balls, or even structured tug games. These dogs love clarity, they love boundaries, and they want to work with you, but only if you give them something real to work on. Hounds need scent games, tracking exercises, and plenty of structured decompression walks where they can just use their nose. Sniffing isn't optional for them, it's therapeutic for them. A mentally satisfied hound is way quieter and way more responsive to you. Sporting dogs want to move and retrieve. Field style fetch with rules, dock diving, swimming, or even structured hikes with a backpack can do wonders. They want to carry things, they want to help. Let them. Toy breeds need just as much structure, but on a scale that fits their size. Teach them obedience. Give them many obstacle courses. Let them work for affection or play. And please, don't carry them everywhere. They need to walk and explore too. Let them use their four legs they've got. Terriers need outlets for their grit. They love problem solving in games that involve digging, chasing, or tug. Try flirt poles, puzzle toys, or nosework. Give them a backyard project before they choose one on their own. Guardians and working breeds need leadership and responsibility, obedience drills, protection sports, structured socialization for sure. This is where they thrive. It's not about breaking their intensity. You need to channel that and make it, again, constructive. A tired guardian dog isn't just physically tired, they're mentally satisfied because they had a mission. Fulfillment doesn't mean running your dog into the ground every day, but it does mean giving your dog outlets that match their drive. When that happens, obedience, it becomes easy because now your dog has context. They've worked, they've earned, they've expressed themselves. They're clear headed and connected. So when you ask for a down or a place or a recall, you're speaking to a dog who has space to listen. You don't get control before the dog gets fulfilled. You get it after they feel seen. And that's where the real transformation begins. That same advice that I got with Zara, I've carried it forward with my new pup, Cairo. If you don't know already, if you're new here, he's a Dutch Shepherd, 7 months old. Let me tell you, this dude is high octane, no chill, bitey bite gremlin energy. He's 7 months old again, and we're doing what he loves to do, what he wants to do. Because I've learned how important that phase of discovery is with a pup. We're playing a lot. We do bite work, tracking, engagement games, tons of drive building. You know what he knows in terms of obedience? His name, sit, down, place, leave it, no. His bite command has a pretty decent recall, and that's it. No fancy routines, no demanding heel work, no pressure, because I've learned not to rush the polish before the foundation is built. I'm not stressing advanced obedience or real deal protection until he's at least a year old. And that's exactly what those Schutzen handlers advised me to do as well. Wait until he's a year. And you know what? I'm enjoying him more because my expectations match where he is developmentally. He's a squirrel brain dog. I'm not fighting that scattered, chaotic mind right now. I'm meeting him where he is. I'm shaping his drive without capping it too early. I'm letting him be exactly who he is while slowly guiding the structure around it. And that's the key. Let your dog grow into themselves, then build the obedience on top of fulfillment, not the other way around. So let's bring it all home. You've got the genetics, you've got the drive, you've got the instincts. But what turns that raw material into either a thriving dog or a ticking time bomb? The environment. The environment is key because genetics, they load the gun, but the environment is what pulls the trigger. You can have a Belgian Malinois with world class bloodlines, but if they are understimulated, overstressed, and living in chaos, that dog is going to become a liability sooner than later. On the flip side, you can have a rescue mutt with unknown lineage, and if you give them structure, patience, and a job, they can flourish. How do I know? I've seen it quite often. That is the nature versus the nurture dynamic in real life. Let's talk about what that looks like. Stress. Chronic stress changes how your dog behaves. It affects everything: impulse control, reactivity, confidence, a chaotic or unpredictable home, constant noise, rough handling. It all takes a toll on the dog. Stimulation. A bored dog is a frustrated dog, and frustration leads to destruction, disobedience, and anxiety. They need outlets for both mind and body every single day. Not once a week, not twice a week, every day. Their diet. If garbage goes in, garbage comes out. Food fuels behavior more than you know. Low quality food can make your dog irritable, hyper, or sluggish. Nutrition supports brain function, mood, and stamina, just like it does for us. Routine. Dogs crave and thrive on predictability. Consistent feeding, exercise, training, and downtime helps them settle and feel safe. Uncertainty for dogs breeds anxiety. Routine builds confidence, also, just like us as humans. And your energy. Yep, you. Dogs read us like books. If you're inconsistent, reactive, nervous, they mirror that. But if you're calm, clear, level headed, they can lean into that too. So while genetics, again, may be the blueprint, it's your day to day environment that builds that house. You can't always control the genes, but you can control what you do with them. And that means if your dog is struggling, acting out, or spiraling, it might not be about needing more discipline. It might be about needing more clarity, structure, and support, starting with you. Let's stop saying this dog is just too much. Let's start asking what environment would let them better succeed. Because that shift, that's where behavior turns into balance. That's where chaos becomes clarity. That's where your dog starts to thrive. And so here's the truth that's going to tie all this together: your dog isn't broken. You're just speaking two different languages. And when you stop trying to silence their behavior and start listening to it, everything shifts. The barking, the herding, the chewing, the guarding, whatever else you can think of, it all starts to make sense. Because behind every problem behavior is a need, a drive, a piece of their genetic blueprint trying to be seen. And what do you do with that? You stop asking, how do I stop this? Start asking, what is this telling me? You study your dog like a teammate, not a project. You honor the breed, you tailor the environment, you fulfill the instinct. And then once your dog feels seen and satisfied, that's when all the obedience starts to matter. You don't need a perfect dog, you need a balanced one. A balanced dog doesn't come from just punishment or perfection, it comes from understanding, communication, and the willingness to meet your dog where they are, not where you wish they were. So if you're struggling right now, do me a favor, take a breath. You're not failing, you're learning. And the fact that you're even listening to this episode tells me something. You're the kind of person that gives a darn about your dog. You want to do better and you want to understand. And that right there, that's where all the good things start to happen. Thanks for being here with me. I'll see you guys in the next episode. And hey, don't forget, your dog's not giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time. Help them work through it. Don't shut them down. You've got this, I promise. Until next time, Jeff Green here with the Canine Academy. We'll see you soon.